From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is in Sarangani Monday for a series of on-the-ground assessments 1 week after the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that caused widespread damage across the province. The President begins his visit with an aerial inspection, giving him a full view of the hardest-hit communities and the extent of damaged roads, bridges, and public facilities. After the flyover, the Chief Executive will proceed to the Glan Evacuation Center, where he is expected to meet displaced families and check ongoing relief operations. He will then move to the Sarangani Provincial Hospital to inspect quake-related damage and lead the turnover of patient transport vehicles, or PTVs, to the provincial government. The President will also travel to Sapu Masla in Malapatan to personally inspect the damage to the Sapu Masla Bridge, one of the key structures affected by the quake. His itinerary includes a stop at Malapatan National High School, where classrooms and school facilities were also impacted. From there, President Marcos will head to the General Santos City Oval Plaza in Barangay Dadyangas for a comprehensive situation briefing with local officials, first responders, and national agencies overseeing the response and recovery efforts. The President is also scheduled to visit Sarangani Provincial High School before returning to General Santos City for the continuation of the briefing. The visit underscores the administration's commitment to rapid restoration, continuous relief delivery, and direct coordination with communities working to recover from the powerful earthquake.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Saturday extended the Philippines' deepest condolences to Thailand following the passing of Princess Barjakitiyaba Narendiri Debyavati, the eldest daughter of King Maha Vajiralongkorn and a prominent figure in the Thai royal family. She was 47. In a statement posted on Facebook, President Marcos said the Philippines stands with Thailand in mourning the princess, emphasizing her lifelong commitment to public service, her work in justice and legal reform, and her strong advocacy for human dignity and women's rights. The Royal Palace announced Friday that Princess Bajrakiti Yaba, widely known as Princess Ba, passed away after nearly 4 years in a coma caused by heart complications. She collapsed in 2022 during a training activity with the Thai military's K9 unit and had been under intensive medical care since then. Her condition had been closely followed by the Thai public due to her senior royal status and her position as a potential heir to the throne. Princess Bachrakitiyaba built a distinguished career in law, diplomacy, and justice reform. She served in Thailand's justice system, taking on roles in prosecution and legal reform, and later held diplomatic posts. In 2017, she was appointed United Nations Goodwill Ambassador for the rule of law in Southeast Asia, focusing on issues affecting women in detention and broader criminal justice reforms. She held an extensive academic background in law, having studied in Thailand, the United Kingdom, and the United States, including advanced legal training in Cornell University. Her passing marks a significant moment for Thailand, with tributes pouring in from across the region for a royal figure widely respected for her service, intellect, and humanitarian work.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Saturday lifted the nation's prayers and hopes to Our Lady of Guadalupe during a Mass at the Manila Cathedral, marking the formal start of the Philippine pilgrimage. President Marcos led the act of consecration and entrustment in a historic liturgy presided over by Manila Archbishop Jose Cardinal Advincula. In his prayer, the President joined the faithful in seeking the protection and intercession of the celestial patroness of the Philippines as the country faces continuing challenges. President Marcos expressed the people's trust in Mary's guidance and maternal care. He prayed for deliverance from hatred, violence, conflict, and injustice, and called for the renewal of hearts through God's mercy and love. The President also asked for unity and protection for the Filipino people, entrusting the nation to the Blessed Mother. He prayed for the transformation of the country's moral and spiritual consciousness and for the triumph of merciful love over sin and evil. First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos joined the Mass, held as part of the country's continuing devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe. The replica pilgrim image will remain at the Manila Cathedral until June 18th before beginning a 6-month journey to more than 40 cathedrals, shrines, and dioceses across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The pilgrimage will culminate on December 12th with the image's permanent installation at the Manila Cathedral, a lasting symbol of prayer, renewal, and hope for the Filipino faithful.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has assured the public that government support and infrastructure restoration across Mindanao will continue following the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck on June 8th. According to the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, most national road sections and bridges affected by the quake are now open to motorists after non-stop clearing and restoration efforts. Among the structures restored to normal operations are the Sapu-Masla Bridge in Sarangani, Bukana Bridge in Davao City, and Lampari Bridge in South Cotabato. Repair work also continues on several critical structures, including the Butulan Bridge in Davao Occidental, Buwayan Bridge in South Cotabato, and Aquino Bridge in Sarangani. The DPWH is likewise conducting emergency repairs on hospitals, health facilities, and schools in affected areas. To support medical operations, the agency has provided electric fans, extension cords, and portalets to the Glan Medicare Community Hospital in Sarangani. In coordination with other government agencies, the DPWH is maintaining 24-hour operations for clearing, repairs, and the delivery of essential assistance, part of the administration's push to speed up recovery efforts for communities hit hard by the Mindanao earthquake.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is pushing to widen the country's diplomatic footprint, announcing plans to open more Philippine embassies and consulates in strategic regions around the world. Speaking at the Vin d'Honneur in Malacañang, the president underscored the value of building deeper, long-term partnerships with the international community. President Marcos said his engagements with global leaders have strengthened cooperation across key sectors and advanced shared goals for peace, progress, and prosperity. As part of this expansion, President Marcos revealed that the Philippines will open new embassies in Kazakhstan and Ghana within the year. He added that preparations are underway for a new Consulate General in Miami, Florida, which will serve Filipinos across the U.S. Southeast and the Caribbean. The chief executive said these new missions will not only provide more accessible consular services for overseas Filipinos, but also open doors for fresh economic opportunities, cultural exchanges, and stronger political ties with host nations. Among those present at the Vin d'Honneur were Senate President Pro Tempore Sherwin Gatchalian, House Speaker Faustino D. III, Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, Apostolic Nuncio and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps Most Reverend Charles Brown, and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos. The Vin d'Honneur, French for Wine of Honor, is a traditional reception hosted by the Philippine President held annually on New Year's Day and Independence Day.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines is set to take a leading role in shaping the future of regional transportation as it hosts the inaugural Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Railway Conference or ASEAN RailCon 2026 on June 18 and 19. The event, which will be held online, will be spearheaded by the Department of Transportation or DOTR and the Philippine Railways Institute with technical support from the Asian Development Bank or ADB. It marks the first time ASEAN is convening a dedicated forum focused solely on strengthening and modernizing the region's railway systems. Railway officials, policymakers, and technical experts from all 11 ASEAN member states are expected to participate. Their discussions will center on improving rail safety, boosting operational efficiency, and building resilient transport networks capable of withstanding natural disasters and rising passenger demand. A major part of the conference will highlight the adoption of cutting-edge technologies, from advanced signaling systems to predictive maintenance tools, as well as strategies to enhance passenger experience, including better accessibility, reliability, and service quality. Delegates will also explore funding mechanisms to support the growing pipeline of railway projects across Southeast Asia, recognizing the sector's crucial role in economic growth, mobility, and regional integration. Organizers say ASEAN RailCon 2026, aims to deepen cooperation among member countries and produce concrete, actionable solutions to long-standing transport challenges. The goal? To help build a safer, more efficient, and more innovative railway network that connects communities and strengthens the region's shared development.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other developments, National Electrification Administration or NEA Administrator Antonio Mariano Almeda has returned to Mindanao to closely monitor the power situation in areas hit hard by the recent strong earthquake. As part of his on-ground assessment, Almeda visited the Davao del Sur Electric Cooperative or DASURECO and the South Cotabato 2 Electric Cooperative or SOCOTECO 2, two power utilities still working round the clock on rehabilitation and full power restoration. The NEA chief also met with Glan Mayor Victor James Yap Sr. and District Engineer Ray Francisco of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Sarangani District Engineering Office. Their discussions focus on the possible relocation of a 69 kilovolt transmission line that was compromised by a major landslide triggered by the quake. To further support affected communities, NEA, together with the One Easy Network Foundation and AMRECO, has allocated financial assistance for DASURECO and SOCOTECO 2. The funds will be used to procure essential relief items, including tents, rice, bottled water, canned goods, and solar flashlights for families still struggling with the aftermath of the disaster. Almeda's visit underscores the government's push to accelerate power restoration, strengthen coordination with local officials, and ensure that electric cooperatives have the resources they need to help communities recover swiftly and safely.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Army's 1,002nd Infantry Bagwis Brigade is intensifying its humanitarian and disaster response operations across Sarangani and Davao Occidental, following the powerful earthquake that struck the region. Army officials say troops are working in full coordination with national government agencies and local government units or LGUs to ensure that the immediate needs of affected residents are met without delay. With the support of the Philippine Air Force and the Philippine Coast Guard, the brigade has been able to deliver food packs, clean drinking water, and medical supplies to remote and hard-to-reach communities, including Jose Abad Santos in Davao Occidental and Glan in Sarangani, areas where road access remains limited due to landslides and damaged infrastructure. At the same time, soldiers continue to lead search, rescue, and retrieval operations in landslide-prone zones, where several individuals remain missing. Teams are navigating unstable terrain and aftershock-affected areas to locate survivors and recover those unaccounted for. The 1,002nd Infantry Brigade remains on heightened alert, maintaining round-the-clock deployment to guarantee uninterrupted relief delivery and sustained support for communities still reeling from the disaster. The Army says its mission is clear: to keep assistance flowing, restore stability on the ground, and ensure that no affected barangay is left behind as Mindanao moves toward recovery.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meantime, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is gearing up for the rollout of Emergency Cash Transfer, or ECT, for families affected by the powerful earthquake that struck parts of Mindanao. DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian says the agency aims to begin distributing cash assistance as soon as possible, with payouts expected to start by next Saturday or within the next 2 weeks, depending on the completion of beneficiary validation. Local governments have already been asked to submit their official list of affected households, a key requirement before the cash aid can be released. While food packs and relief goods continue to flow into evacuation centers, Secretary Gatchalian emphasized that cash assistance remains a top priority, allowing families to purchase urgent needs such as medicine, hygiene items, and other essentials not covered by standard relief kits. According to the latest report from DSWD's Disaster Response Operations Management, Information and Communications, or DROMIC system, more than 24 million pesos worth of assistance has already been distributed to residents in the Davao region. After overseeing relief operations in Davao Occidental, Secretary Gatchalian is set to travel to General Santos City and Glan, Sarangani to coordinate additional support and assess the needs of communities still reeling from the disaster. The DSWD says it is committed to sustaining relief operations and ensuring that affected families receive timely and adequate assistance as Mindanao continues its recovery.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, a new Okta research survey shows that more than half of Filipinos are open to working or living abroad if given the opportunity, a finding that underscores how strongly many citizens view overseas migration as a path to better prospects. According to Okta's Tugon ng Masa survey, 57% of adult Filipinos say they are willing to go overseas, while 39% prefer to stay in the country and 4% remain undecided. Among those open to working abroad, the motivations are clear. 67% cite better job opportunities, 61% point to higher salaries, and 58% say they are seeking a better quality of life. The desire to explore opportunities overseas is strongest among young adults aged 18 to 24, with 81% expressing willingness to migrate. The sentiment is also notably high among college graduates and residents of urban areas where exposure to global job markets and information is more pronounced. Okta says the finding highlight a growing perception among Filipinos that migration can open doors to economic mobility and long-term stability. But the results also present a clear challenge for government to create more high-quality jobs, expand local opportunities, and build an environment where Filipinos feel confident building their future at home. The Tugon ng Masa survey was conducted from March 19th to the 25th through face-to-face interviews with 1,200 adult respondents nationwide.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, posted another strong performance in May, collecting 279.135 billion pesos in gross revenues, a 14.15% jump from the same month last year, or an additional 34.61 billion pesos. The agency also surpassed its May target, beating its 279.056 billion peso goal by 78.22 million pesos. BIR Commissioner Charlito Martin Mendoza said, the robust numbers reflect the combined impact of the extended filing season and the continued cooperation of taxpayers despite the ongoing energy crisis. According to the Commissioner, the filing extension approved by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. gave taxpayers much-needed breathing room to manage finances, file correctly, and settle obligations without the usual pressure brought by power interruptions and unstable internet connectivity in some areas. Mendoza also commended BIR personnel nationwide, from frontline staff assisting taxpayers in district offices and e-lounges to back-end teams ensuring uninterrupted operations for sustaining service delivery throughout the extended filing period. From January to May this year, the BIR collected 1.434 trillion pesos, up 5.49% or 74.582 billion pesos from the same period last year. The 5-month total also exceeded the agency's 1.424 trillion peso target by 9.709 billion pesos. The commissioner noted that the revenue gains came as the agency continues to roll out reforms under the BIR Dares agenda. In May alone, the Bureau launched the taxpayer portal for large taxpayers, introduced the registration seal badge and QR-enabled certificate of registration for online businesses, implemented the ease of closing business reform to simplify registration cancellations, and issued guidelines for the new mining royalty regime under Republic Act 12253. Mendoza said the latest results show that revenue growth and reform can advance together, adding that the BIR will continue pushing for clearer rules, simpler processes, and improved digital services while strengthening enforcement and compliance monitoring to protect the country's revenue base.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Weather Bureau is stepping up its campaign for disaster preparedness as Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or DOST PAGASA, launches Typhoon and Flood Awareness Week 2026, a nationwide effort to strengthen public readiness ahead of the rainy and typhoon season. PAGASA says the annual observance aims to deepen public understanding of the risks brought by typhoons, heavy rainfall, and flooding, especially as the Philippines continues to face the escalating impacts of climate change and more frequent extreme weather events. As part of the campaign, the agency is intensifying its information drive to help Filipinos better interpret weather forecasts, rainfall warnings, and flood advisories, critical tools that can save lives when used correctly. Carrying the theme, Bagyo, Baha, Maghanda Tayo, PAGASA is urging all sectors, local governments, schools, businesses, and households to take a proactive approach to disaster preparedness and to rely only on official warnings issued by the agency and local authorities. The public is also reminded to keep emergency go bags, identify evacuation routes, and evacuate immediately when instructed by authorities.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DNR, is urging the public to conserve water as the country faces the growing possibility of El Niño conditions, which could bring prolonged dry spells and strained water supplies nationwide. DNR officials warn that early action is critical to protect limited water resources needed for drinking, hospitals, and other essential services, especially as water utilities continue repairing damaged facilities and assisting the most affected communities. DNR Secretary Juan Miguel Cuna emphasized in an advisory that conserving water now will help ensure stable supply for households and critical sectors should drought conditions worsen. The reminder was issued in coordination with the Water Resources Management Office, or WRMO, and the National Water Resources Board, or NWRB, reviving several conservation measures used during the 2023 to 2024 dry season. Secretary Cuna is calling on households to adopt simple but effective water-saving habits, taking shorter baths, turning off the tap while brushing teeth, fixing leaks immediately, and reusing gray water for flushing toilets or cleaning outdoor areas when safe to do so. The DNR also advises the public to avoid non-essential water use such as washing cars, hosing down driveways, and refilling private swimming pools unless required for health or safety. Local governments, meanwhile, are preparing water truck schedules and refill stations for areas expected to experience tighter supply. Water utilities will also intensify leak repairs and pressure management to reduce system losses. According to the advisory, clean water for drinking, sanitation, and medical facilities will be prioritized should supply tighten. Authorities also committed to releasing weekly updates on reservoir levels, water system conditions, and ongoing relief operations to keep the public fully informed. The DNR is urging everyone to stay alert, stay informed, and practice responsible water use as the country prepares for the potential impacts of El Niño.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, and the Philippine Postal Corporation, or PhilPost, have unveiled a special set of commemorative banknotes, coins, and stamps in celebration of the 125th anniversary of the Supreme Court. Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo led the launch ceremony at the Supreme Court Session Hall in Manila, joined by top officials from the BSP and PhilPost. Among the highlights is a 3,000 peso commemorative banknote, the BSP's first ever vertically designed paper currency created specifically for the milestone celebration. Also released is a 125 peso commemorative coin, symbolizing the Supreme Court's long history and enduring legacy in upholding justice. PhilPost likewise introduced 4 special edition stamps, each featuring iconic structures and historic moments from the Supreme Court's 125 years of service. According to the High Court, the commemorative pieces serve as a tribute to more than a century of judicial independence, protection of constitutional rights, and the institution's role in strengthening Philippine democracy. The commemorative banknote and coin are now available through the BSP and the newly opened Supreme Court gift shop, while the special stamps may be purchased at the PhilPost Central Office and the Supreme Court's gift shop.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.650 MHz, rather that's 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.